Welcome to this section of the training, and in this section of the training what we're going to be doing is a complete walkthrough from start to finish to be able to build your very first YouTube ad campaign. Now we're going to be focusing on in-stream ads, those are pre-roll ads on YouTube, and we're going to be using a targeting option using keywords. But the great thing about this is as I build it and show you how to do this, it means you'll be very aware of how to create all different types of campaigns. So not only in-stream ads, but also discovery ads as well. And also you'll be able to choose different types of targeting options that are right for you. Because as we've been going through this training, you'll know you've chosen your moment for your customer. You know where they're at, what they're doing, you've painted that picture. Then we know that we are not only getting in front of them with a really good ad that meets that message, but also because we know where they're at in the buying cycle, whether they are a window shopper, an in-store shopper, or a checkout shopper, we'll know the targeting option to choose as well. So hopefully you've got a kind of a real clear idea of how to get in front of the right customer now, and also the targeting option. And now it's just a case of building it. And that's what I want to walk you through and make sure you know how to build it. Despite the fact that we're just going to be focusing on an in-stream to keyword campaign, you can kind of adapt your different types of campaigns and targeting options based on where your customer is at. So hopefully this will be making a lot of sense to you. And what I'd recommend you do from the very beginning is set up two tabs. And I normally do this inside of Chrome because it's a Google-based browser. And what I recommend you have is two tabs open, one with your video ad and the other tab with your AdWords account. Now, I would recommend you go and build your AdWords account to begin with. It's pretty self-explanatory, so it doesn't need to be another video on that. But just Google AdWords, build your account, and fill in all your billing and all that sort of good stuff as you go through it. And it might take 15 minutes, especially if you're not used to it. But just go in there and build your account. You're going to want to do a little bit of research about conversion pixels and all that sort of good stuff as well. Make sure you've got the right conversion pixels in the right places and the right remarketing pixels as well. But that's the sort of stuff that's kind of easily researched, and so you can kind of go and search how to do that as well. So I didn't want to cover that in this particular training. But once you got to this section and you've opened up your AdWords account and you haven't yet built your first campaign, this is the point where I can really provide you with a lot of value. Now, also what you want to do is make sure you have your video ad ready, uploaded to YouTube, and make sure it's ready to go. Now, as you can see here, I've actually got a video that I wouldn't use as an ad because it's 42 minutes in length, but it's an ad it's a video that I'm going to use because it's one that I gave a presentation recently at Traffic and Conversion for Digital Marketer, so I thought it was very apt. And I've actually managed to, as this always happens, I managed to pause it at a point where I am speaking, but behind me, as you can see, Mike Rhodes seems to be, well, it doesn't look that interesting. He looks almost like disappointed in my content, which is a classic Mike Rhodes thing to do. And then we've also got Ralph Burns here, who's just basically looking off into the distance, not interested one bit. So a real riveting presentation by the looks of things. I'm sure if we zoomed out a little bit further and saw some of the other guys that I was speaking with, they would have some amazing faces on, but unfortunately not. Anyway, that's the way things normally go. Hopefully you're enjoying this training though. And if you are, please leave comments or let me know in some way, shape or form. It's always good to know that I'm helping you out. If you're not enjoying this training, well, you probably wouldn't get to this stage if you weren't enjoying it. But if you're not, I don't need to hear from you, that's fine. All right, okay, cool. So what we're going to do is going to go to your AdWords campaign, and you've built it to the point where you've added your billing and all that sort of good stuff. It's all ready to go. We're going to set up your first campaign. So this is the point where I'd recommend, if you're watching along, then feel free to pause and go through this. In fact, what I might recommend is go through this video all once first, get a good feel for it, know what's coming up, and then go through it again, but go to the point where you pause it, implement, pause, implement, and so on. So the first thing we're going to do is click this big red button here and click the button which says video, okay? Now once you've clicked that, the campaign name, you're going to call it IS for in-stream and key for keywords. And then what I normally do is add in something like desktop so I know what sort of device I'm targeting. And then if the country or gender is important, I normally add that in as well. So let's say, for example, I went for US only and I went for just males, I'd add it in like that. Okay, that's just my way of doing things. It could be different for you, but it just means I can have a code that I use so I know what campaigns do what. Okay, so let's just keep it like this for now. In-stream keyword desktop, so I know what's happening. It's an in-stream ad targeting keywords, and it's only going to people on a desktop. Okay. Now, when you look down, if you had existing video campaigns, you could load those settings from there, but there's no need to do that for now because we don't have any existing video campaigns in this account. And then we've got the in-stream or video discovery ads. Those are the ones we're going to choose for now. Bumper ads are something different, and we'll maybe cover that in a different training another day. Now, your bidding is going to have to be cost per view. That's the way it works. You pay per view. And when it comes to your budget, just choose a budget that you're happy to potentially waste, if that makes sense. So I normally start off with them. For me, I know what I'm doing most of the time because I've done this many, many times before, and so I'm willing to spend $50 and waste it potentially. I say waste it, I put it up to R&D, so to speak. When it comes to your budget though, you can start with like $5, $10 if you wish to. The account that I'm using here is actually built using pounds, which is obviously GBP is the UK currency, pounds. And so that's £50, which works out around about $70 or so. So, but choose a number that fits right for you, and it can be a really low number. I'll probably gut reaction, I would say go for anything above $10. So start at $10 if you want to, but you need to give it a bit of oomph so you can get some data in. The first couple of weeks of this is kind of like normally what happens in the first couple of weeks. You're going to advertise, and of all the places you're advertising, 20% is going to look really good, 20% is going to look okay, and the rest of it's not going to look very good at all. And what I normally recommend is get rid of all the stuff that's not working very well, like just put that all on pause. The stuff that could look like it could be improved, play around with that and try and optimize it, and the stuff that's looking really good, then scale up from there. That's normally the way it works. It's kind of like that 80-20 rule. Now, when it comes to your delivery method of your adverts, stick it to standard. You can go accelerated if you wish to, but it means it's going to spend your money as quickly as possible. And I prefer to spend the money as evenly over the day. Just because people might be buying later in the day. Likewise, if you're targeting the whole of the US and you spend all your money on the East Coast when the day starts, it means when it comes around to the West Coast, there won't be much budget left, if any at all. So keep it standard. It means it'll spend your money averagely over that day. Now, when it comes to your networks, because we're going to be running in-stream ads, we can turn off YouTube search, which means we won't. That's kind of like useful for when you're running discovery ads, when you want your videos to appear at the top of the search results. And we don't want our videos to show on the display network, which means is your pre-roll ads could show on YouTube videos that are embedded into blogs, for example. We don't want that, so we're going to turn that one off, and we're just going to be focusing on YouTube videos here. Now, when it comes to your locations, you can choose with advanced search inside of here, you can choose radius targeting, so you could do like 20 miles around a pinpoint in a map, for example. You can go for zip codes, you can go for postcodes, you can go for cities, towns, and then go up to international campaigns as well. And for me here, I'm just going to target the US, so I'll just put the United States, which will cover that area, obviously, and then press done. And then you've got United States there. Now, you can add exclusions as well if you wish to. So in your advanced search, if you said, you know what, from these certain states, I never get very good buyers, you can actually add them as exclusions as well inside of here. So you can you play around with that and have a look at doing that as well. Alrighty, so when it comes to your languages, of course, I'm going to be advertising to people who speak English, so keep the language as English there. You can obviously choose whatever's right for you. And then with your devices, it works on bid adjustments. So if you wanted to advertise purely to desktop, let's say, or computers, then what we need to do is decrease the mobile bid adjustment by 100% for mobiles as well as tablets. But of course, you just make that decision for yourself. You can leave the one that you want to target as nothing, but it means then you have a scenario where we're not going to be showing any ads on mobile or tablets. But of course, if you wanted to just be focusing on mobile devices, for example, or tablets, you just make sure you decrease the other options by 100%. Now, when it comes to your advanced settings, if you had a particular launch that you were going live for and you want to get ready for it a couple of weeks before you actually promote, then you can set up all your campaigns exactly as you wish to, and then you can schedule it so that you have a start date and an end date, which means that if you wanted to run your ads for a 3-week period, it's for a certain time period for a launch that you might be doing, great, you can set it all up ready to go and hit go, and it will automatically make it go live on a date you choose and stop those ads on a date you choose as well, which is quite handy sometimes, but we're going to leave it off for now. And then you can also schedule your ads or schedule your ads depending where you come from in the world, to a custom schedule as well. So you can say, okay, I want to run my ads at certain points during the day, and add in lots of different hours or periods that you want your ads to run. Now, that's unlikely to be really important for a lot of people, but let's say, for example, you were a hair salon and you're advertising. People typing in hairstyles, for example, into YouTube on a Friday night are probably looking for a tutorial to learn how to do an updo. So they just like go out that evening with a new hairstyle, for example. Whereas if they're looking on a Saturday morning, which is a few hours later, those people are more likely to be looking for inspiration for new hairstyles. And so they're more likely to potentially book into a salon. So time of day can actually make a big difference for certain types of businesses. So it's worth considering that. Now, when it comes to your ad delivery down here, there's such a thing called frequency capping, which means that your ads won't show too many times to a particular user, which I think is a really good thing to do. Too many times I see a lot of YouTube ads over and over and over again, which can be good in some ways because you get the brand exposure all the time, but it can annoy people as well. There's a few ads that I see that annoy me, and I'm sure you had the same experience, and I don't want to do that with my brand. So what I tend to do is say, let's go for 3 impressions per day per user for that particular campaign, and it means that you're not going to be bombarding that same person with over and over with different ads. And you could do it via views, but impressions are going to take care of it. And then content exclusions as well. You might say to yourself, okay, I want to exclude certain types of content as well, so your ads won't run on certain types of things. And have a look inside of here, just press edit, and you have all the options here that you might want to stop your ads running on different videos, which obviously is a useful thing to do most of the time. But I'm going to leave that for now and press save and continue, which means I've built a campaign that I want to build. Now what we're going to do, inside the campaign you have ad groups, which are rather like ad sets inside of a campaign on Facebook, and so they just call it ad groups. And this is really where you choose what ad you want to run and what targeting you're going to choose. So inside of this ad group, I'm going to call this whatever I want to call the keyword. So I'm going to call it here, how to advertise on YouTube. Okay, and I might copy that so I have it on my clipboard, for example. But then you want to go and grab your YouTube video. So let's go back here, and this is the YouTube video I'm going to be using as an ad. I probably wouldn't use this video as an ad, but I can do for now. So copy that, and I'm going to paste it in here. And it means that then it's going to pick up my ad on my video, and then I want to choose what sort of ad I want to run with this video. And here I'm going to choose in-stream, which is the pre-roll ad. I could have easily selected video discovery ad here instead, and then I would have to add in my headline and description, because these are going to come up on the top of the search results and on the right-hand side as well. So you have options of how, but it will show you underneath on how to build it all basically, and it walks you through and makes it very easy for you. But then with your in-stream ads, you'll see it looks like this. Okay, so now you need to add your URLs that you want to advertise to. Now I'm just going to stick in viewability.co.uk here because it's my company address. But what I'd recommend is using tracking links and also using UTM parameters perhaps, whatever you want to use to make sure you can track your links and track your traffic accurately. And so there's a tracking template underneath should you wish to use that, and Google are encouraging people to use that more and more now. But you can use UTM links as well. Of course, you can send people through an affiliate link if you wish to as well, which could be another way of tracking your audience, but it's not essential. Okay, so I'll leave that with you because tracking is different for everybody, and you probably want to read up on it before you get to this section if you haven't done so already. Now, you can add a companion banner up here. So at the moment, when you run your ad, as you can see here, on the right-hand side, it will just select other videos from your channel or promote you in different ways with your companion banner up here. But you can choose to upload your own image, which would be a 300 by 60 pixel image, and that will be on the right-hand side at the top, and so you can choose an image that would work there. And I normally just add a bit of text in there along the lines of click here to register for the webinar, for example, and have a picture of the brand logo or the individual that's presented on the video. And the reason that's useful is because even if someone skips the ad, that companion banner will stay there, which is very useful. So you can potentially use a companion banner. It's not the end of the world if you don't use it. It's just you might pick up a bit more traffic. And then with your ad name, I would select whatever makes sense to whatever would make useful for you. So here, it looks like the traffic panel that I did, so I'll call traffic panel. And then I would also normally, in brackets, add in what the keyword is, because this video is only going to go into one keyword. Because the way I build these campaigns, and I encourage you to do the same thing, is when you build an ad group, make sure you just add in one keyword or one type of targeting into that one ad group and call it what it is you're doing. So it's very clear on what your campaign is all about. And if you do that, it means that you've got lots and lots of ad groups, but you have a lot more flexibility to how to grow that campaign or how you optimize it. And it's a lot easier to work with it when it's done in that way. So once you've chosen your ad name, that's great. Now you want to do is choose your maximum cost per view. It's a bit of a gut call when you first get started because you don't know how well it's going to perform and how much it's going to be worth to you. But let's say for now, I would probably start off with 5 cents if I'm in an audience that I think is kind of quite a large audience, so I think I can get a lot of traffic anywhere at a low cost. But say, for example, I was doing health insurance, for example, I might add that to like 25 cents, for example. Here I'm going to leave it at 5 pence cost per view, which probably is around about 7 or 8 cents. Now, I don't really play around with the popular video bid adjustments. I don't play with that at all for now. Then underneath with the targeting, you've got your demographics. So this is the point where you just select your audience. Is it male or female? Is it the age groups, parent, non-parent, and household income as well? Household income won't be available to everybody, but if you advertise in some countries like the States, then that data is available to us. So you can say, okay, I only want to advertise to people in the top 10% of household income, or I want to remove the lower 50%, which means you advertise to people who have more money, which can be useful. Now, it's not 100% accurate, all of this data here, so, but I sometimes select unknown here. It's not like Facebook. Facebook actually have your profile, and what you've said is what your profile is, and therefore they can categorize you based on your actual age and your birthday almost, and everything else according to that as well. Google, if you have a Google account, then they'll know that information from you, but it's not always the case. They judge this as well based on your search behavior as well. So there's many data points at which they're gathering information from us, but sometimes it will add people into the unknown section, which I'm going to leave on because you can always separate that later. So I'm going to put done. Then inside of my interests, I wouldn't add any interests because it's not interest-based targeting, but if it was, you can select affinity audiences or in-market audiences here that you have built. Not you have built, but they're available to you on Google. And later on, you could even build your own custom affinity audiences as well, which could be very powerful for you. But you want to have a look down here and have a look at the different affinity audiences or the in-market audiences. But this comes back to what targeting option you choose based on the previous videos you've watched. So let's cancel that because we don't want the interests. And so what we're going to do instead is choose a keyword. But you could quite easily choose placements here, choose remarketing options, choose topics of videos as well. There's a whole heap of different types of targeting options here that you probably want to explore. But let's do keywords for now. And the keyword was, at the top of the search page, or at the top of the page, was how to advertise on YouTube. So scroll back down and add that keyword in like that. So it's one keyword per ad group. One keyword, one ad group. Then once you've added that keyword in there, you press done. And now we know what we've done is we've added in the video, we've added in the keyword, and we've chosen all the cost per views, and it all looks good. And when we're ready to do that, press save ad group. Okay, now we have built the campaign. Now, this is really exciting now because if I go back here, let me just go back to, where are we? Let's go back to ad groups here. Here is our campaign here. Let me just actually go back to all campaign. I need to tidy this up just for a second. Bear with me one moment. I'm just going to get rid of this one here. This one was from earlier today. So let's just go all, and then I'll go back to all enabled. There we go. So you can play around with this all enabled ad campaigns, which means that you can see which ones you've got live. So now I see this campaign called IS for in-stream keyword. Go into desktop, and we built that. Then inside that campaign, if I click, it's going to open up the ad group, which is based on the keyword that I've selected. And here, if I click on the ad group now, inside of the ad group, I have my ad here, and then I also have video targeting here as well. And I've got here different keywords that I'm advertising to as well. So that means all in all, I have everything set up correctly as I wish. I've got the video created, I've got the AdWords targeted correctly, sorry, I've got the keywords targeted correctly. And now I just need to wait for a few hours whilst Google look at the video, make sure they're happy to go ahead with it, it doesn't have any compliance issues, and then we're good to promote. And then you will also want to go back into here and look at your keywords, see how much you're spending, and see how many conversions you've had, whether it be opt-in, whether it be sale. Keep an eye on these numbers, and then you can play around with them. If things are getting too expensive, you can potentially reduce the cost per view for particular campaigns. If things are getting really kind of going really well, you might say, okay, well, look, I've got some space to add more cost per view to get more reach and more scale here as well. So cost per view is one that I tend to keep an eye on. And another parameters that I tend to try and keep an eye on as well would be, if we go back to all campaigns here and go back to the campaigns that we're running here, what I tend to do is in the column section, you can modify your columns and you can add in okay, so you might want to add in conversions, or so you can add in conversions here. You can add in view-through conversions as well, because with YouTube you tend to get some view-through conversions as well. But I might add in competitive metrics here, and I add in display impression share, display lost impression share based on rank and also budget. And the reason I do that is if I apply that, right now it's not going to give me any data, but my display impression share tells me with my current targeting, out of 100%, how often did I get seen? How often did my ad actually run? And it might have a display impression share of like 10%, which means I'm only tapping into 10% of the market based on my targeting. And that's really good intel for us, because it's like, there's so much more scope there, and you can get a load more scale if you can afford to increase your cost per view and increase your daily budget as well. So that all comes down to how much you're willing to pay, how much your profit margins are, and of course things like cash flow as well, because you might not want to spend a fortune on day one and have to wait for a couple of weeks for that money to come in. But your display impression share will tell you how much you're tapping into that marketplace. And then it also tells you, based on your budget, did you lose some of that percentage because of the budget, or was it because of rank? And what rank really comes down to is the quality of your video. Are Google penalizing you because the quality of your video is very poor? In which case you want to keep an eye on view rate and try and make sure your view rate of your videos, especially with in-stream ads, is above 20%. If you get them above 20%, YouTube normally like your ad at that point, and therefore your display impression is not going to be lost due to the rank of your video. And rank really is like the quality, like pretty much similar to a relevancy score or quality score on Google campaigns as well. So that kind of brings us to the end of this particular training. But now that you've been through this once and you saw those options as we went, you could have easily selected discovery ads. You could have easily selected your interest based on affinity audiences or in-market audiences or topics or placements or remarketing or similar audiences as well. There's a whole host of different ways of targeting your audience here. And so what I'd recommend is you go and just explore. Go through the training again, look at those moments, look at what customers you want to get in front of. Are they window shoppers? Are they in-store shoppers? Are they checkout shoppers? Work out what targeting tends to get in front of them, work out what ad would resonate best with them, and run them by building these types of campaigns. And you should find you get very effective at running YouTube ads, because you can really have all the data in front of you and tweak and play with the numbers to the point at which they become very profitable for you, and then scale that campaign as well. So hopefully this has been really useful, and what I'd recommend is you just go in there, build your campaigns now, have a play, and just know that you just make sure your budget is something you're willing to spend per day, and then also just keep an eye on those numbers and explore. Don't feel like you're going to spend a fortune, keep it to a budget you're happy to play around with, and if you start getting some great results, YouTube is a great place to be.